Suffolk's finest. You're watching World Stadium Profiles, and this is Ipswich Town's Portman Road. Portman Road, which gets its name from the street which passes by immediately to the east, has been the home for the Ipswich Town Football Club since 1884, the successor to their previous home at Broomhill Park. The East Anglia side were back then known as Ipswich ASC, having formed in 1878, and wouldn't take their current Ipswich Town name until they merged with Ipswich Rugby Club in 1888. Portman Road site had previously been a cricket ground in use by the East Suffolk Cricket Club since 1855. There was a pavilion in place beside the field, and the ground remained without additional work for the first decade of Ipswich Town's time there. It was the creation of a temporary stand for the visit of Aston Villa in 1898 that prompted the need for growth. Portman Road got its first permanent stand, affectionately known as the Chicken Run, on its east side in 1906. It would remain until 1971, when it was sold to local speedway team the Ipswich Witches for use at their Vauxhall Stadium. The remainder of the first half of the 20th century included the creation of a small stand on the west side of the ground in 1928, which would become a larger seated stand in the late 1930s. The East Suffolk Cricket Club would lead Portman Road when Ipswich Town became a professional team in 1936, and it allowed the creation of a bank of terracing at the north end of the pitch to begin its installation. Terracing was converted from wood to concrete in the 1950s, whilst the creation of a new west stand took capacity up to 31,000 by 1957. Floodlights came in 1959, and capacity was up to 31,500 by 1963. Additional growth and the development of facilities in the 1960s and 1970s created a peak-sized Portman Road, setting its still record attendance in 1974 when 38,010 saw Ipswich face Leeds United in the FA Cup. Ipswich would win the FA Cup and the UEFA Cup within the next 7 years during an extremely successful period on the pitch. Necessary conversion to an all-seater stadium came in the 1990s, which included the removal of safety barriers around the north stand following the Hillsborough disaster. Promotion to the Premier League back in 2000 saw the most recent major work, redeveloping both the north and south stands and adding a further 4,000 seats to total capacity at over 30,000. International pedigree is more limited to Portman Road when compared to other stadiums. Whilst England's youth teams have been here on a number of occasions, the senior men's side have only played here once at the time of writing, a 3-1 friendly win over Croatia back in August 2003. The present-day Portman Road has 3 statues around its vicinity. 2 are of managers who led both Ipswich Town and the England team, Sir Alf Ramsey and Sir Bobby Robson, whose tributes don't just end with the memorials outside. Directly opposite the crossroads from the stadium's northeast corner stands a statue of Kevin Beattie, often regarded as Ipswich Town's greatest ever player. He played well over 200 times for the Tractor Boys, winning the FA Cup and UEFA Cup there, whilst receiving 9 senior caps for England. The east stand that runs alongside Portman Road is known as the Cobbold Stand, dating back to 1971. The name is a reference to the Cobbold family, prominent in the local area, who were known for their involvement in the brewing industry, as well as their impact at Ipswich Town, whilst the club was both amateur and professional. The Cobbold Stand houses away fans in its southern blocks. The adjacent south stand has had plenty of previous names, most notably the Churchman Stand, after the family who owned a tobacco factory which stood next to the ground during its early days. Since March 2012, it has been named in honour of Sir Alf Ramsey, marking 50 years since Ipswich won the First Division title under him in 1962. Ramsey would lead Ipswich between 1955 and 1963, moving on to take the England job upon the conclusion of the latest season. He would guide England to the FIFA World Cup on home soil in 1966, cementing his legacy to the English game forever. The West Stand dates back to 1957 and has been all-seater since 1990, nowadays consisting of 3 tiers with executive boxes, a press area and a family area all present. Known for having a large AstroTurf pitch right outside, the stand has gone through numerous sponsorship names over the years, including the Britannia Stand and the East of England Cooperative Stand. Though the road outside the North Stand is known as Sir Alf Ramsey Way, the North Stand itself is named for a different man, Sir Bobby Robson. Robson's tenure at Portman Road was between January 1969 and August 1982, overseeing 709 games and winning both the 1978 FA Cup and the 1981 UEFA Cup with the Tractor Boys. His managerial career, much like Ramsey, saw him leave Ipswich to the England job, a position he held between 1982 and 1990. Management jobs would follow in the Netherlands, Portugal and Spain, and then back home in England at Newcastle United. The Sir Bobby Robson stand, much like the Sir Alf Ramsey stand opposite, is a two-tiered stand sat behind one of the goals. Its bottom tier is home to Ipswich's most vocal fan groups during a match day. Capacity at the time of writing sits at 29,673. Have you had the chance to experience Portman Road before? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the Matchday Man for more stadium profiles like this one. I'll see you then.